Okay. Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next is, so these are the notations, okay, how we represent lists. One can be list of integers, strings, and it can be an empty list as well. And we'll see about lists of doubles and triples in the end. Okay. So now what are the operations that we can perform on
Ma'am,
lists?
can you zoom it?
Yeah, wait. Is this okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
All right. So we can append two lists, right? What does that mean? Say I have a list 1, which is containing the elements 1 and 13. Okay. And a list 2,
Yes.
which has elements 2, 7, and 1. If I want to keep all of these elements in a single list, then what do? We append lists 1 and list 2, right? So, what is the append symbol? Plus plus. Okay, so L1 plus plus L2 means we'll add, like we will take all the values together in a single list like this. So 1, 13, 2, 17, 1. Okay, this is the most basic operation we can perform on two lists. Append. Okay, anything from here? Any question?
No, ma'am, clear.
Okay. Next is, so how can we extend the list with one item? So like we just added a list
No,
with another list, right? Like that we can also, yeah, are you saying something? Okay. So just like we just added two lists, right? Appended one list to another. Just like that, we can also extend a list. That is, add an item to the list. Like if I have my list L and I want to add this item X to my list, okay. So what will I do? I have to write it in this notation L plus plus X, but in box brackets. Okay. If you don't write it in square brackets, it is wrong. Why? Because see, we all know, right, that whenever we come to equality notations, so the left hand side and the right hand side are needed to be of the same type of data, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
yes,
So if left hand side is a list, everything on the right hand side should also be part of a list, right? So when we write X, just X, it comes as an element. How do we know if that element belongs to a list or not? So that is why we need square brackets to notify that X is an element of a list. Okay. So don't write X by itself. Clear?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you can append any
yes,
item
ma'am.
to a list. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Like if I have this list 1, 13, 12, and I say want to append 5 to this list, my notation will be, say this list is L. My notation will be L equals to L plus plus box bracket 5. Clear? Okay.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Okay.
what does
Yeah.
11 plus 12 would do?
This is not 11. This is L1 list. Okay.
It's L1.
Yeah. And this is list
Oh,
L2.
L1.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just appended together. Like the values are all taken together in a single list. That is, values of list 2
Okay.
are added to values of list 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Now let's take an example that we want to form a list of students born in May. Okay. What will be the pseudocode for that? See, I want a list of students who were born in May. So first thing I will do is initialize an empty list where I will store those values of all those students. So say I initialized a list called the May list. Okay. And how do we initialize? By using this empty list symbol, right? Open and close square brackets.
empty list.
Next, yeah, empty list. So I initialized an empty list here. Next, what do? I run a while loop. What is my condition? That table 1 has more rows. That is our scores data set, right? It has 30 cards. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
will check
Yes,
for all 30, right? So while table 1 has more rows, I will read the first row. That is the first card. Within that, I
Yes,
will
ma'am.
check if X dot month of birth is May. So month of birth is not an actual field in your data set. Okay, this is just an example. I think there is date of birth given there in the actual data set.
Yes, ma'am.
So
DOB.
yeah,
Ma'am,
so let's just assume, yeah.
is this fourth week or fifth week, ma'am?
This is fifth week.
Okay.
Okay. So let's just assume that somehow I can extract that month of birth data from that DOB. Okay. So I'm just writing x dot month of birth and it will give me the birth month of that student. Okay. It's possible to extract, right? So I read the first card in table 1 and I check if the student's month of birth is equal to May, equal to is what? Comparison operator. Correct? We compare that if that is May. If it,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
So if it is May, we will enter the if block, and in this May list that was empty till now, we will append x dot sequence number. So what we are doing, the sequence number of that card we are adding to that list. That is, if say some student with sequence number 12, okay, if they are born in month of May, then my list will now contain 12 after this iteration. Okay,
Ma'am, append means adding.
yeah, append means just adding.
Okay.
So whenever we talk about like adding elements to a list, we don't say the word add because it is a little ambiguous, right? When you say I'm adding some element to a list, you might think that I'm performing actual addition between two elements. It's not like that. So we say append. Okay, but it's the same thing. So after the first iteration, right? After the first iteration, May list will now contain 12 if some person with sequence number 12 is born in May. Correct?
Hmm.
Next.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next iteration. What do we do?
Ma'am,
Before the
again we
next
check
iteration, I will have, yeah, but before the next iteration, one more thing I have to do. Remove that card from the pile and move it to table 2, right? Because I have checked
Hmm.
for that card now.
Hmm.
Okay. Next iteration will pick up the second card, right? And do the same thing. If they are not born in May, I will not enter the if block and will directly move X to table 2. So like this, I will continue till I've exhausted my table 1, like till no more cards are left. And
So ma'am, whichever cards has May in it, so we will calculate all the May part, and we will the result will be the addition of all the numbers. Is that
not the addition.
append? Sorry.
See, so if 12 sequence number was the first card, so second card say they were not born in May, so I directly move them to table 2. Now third card I pick up, okay, say they were born in May
Sure.
again, and the sequence number is 15. So now I will again append to the list. Yeah. So what will it look like? 12 comma 15 now. Clear? This is how I'm
Okay.
adding elements to a list.
Ma'am, we simply appending the sequence number of the particular card, like
Yeah.
12, 15,
Yeah, so
17,
do not
3,
confuse it
4.
like just because I'm saying add or append, do not confuse it. It's not like 12
Mm-hmm.
plus 15, okay? We are
Yes,
adding to the
got
list.
it, ma'am.
This is wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
So list will now contain 12 and 15. Again, say fourth card someone was born in December. So this part is skipped if block. Then again if someone is born in May with say sequence number 20. So now my list has 12, 15, 20. So like this
Hmm.
I will do it till my table 1 is exhausted, right? And then in the end if I print this list, May list, it will print all the sequence numbers of cards of students who are born in May. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any question in this code?
No, ma'am.
Not yet, ma'am.
Okay, good. Now see. This part is same, yeah. So next question is, say I want a list of students from Chennai. So what will change? Just this if condition, right? So till now we were checking x dot birth month is May or not. Now I want students from Chennai. So I will just check if x dot town city is Chennai or not. And I have changed the name of the list
Yes,
to
ma'am.
Chennai list. Same thing. Again, just check for every card whether that person is from Chennai. If so, add them to the list. Otherwise, move them to table 2. Clear? It's the exact
Yes,
same
ma'am.
code. Just change the condition.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So typically what do we need to do? Like when I have created a list, or you might get questions where lists are given to you, right? Lists have been created and given to you. But to process any list or like manipulate any list or perform any operation in general, what do we need? We need to access the elements within the list, right? So what do? We typically need to iterate over a list. Iterate means access every element sequentially, just like we do in a loop. Okay. So just like in table 1, I am iterating over that table and picking one card at a time and going sequentially, right? Just like that in a list, when I iterate over a list, I pick every element. Yeah.
Excuse me, madam. Madam, list will tell us the number of persons who burn in same
So the
month, ma'am.
length of the list.
The
See,
length.
the
Okay.
length of that list will give you the number of people. Okay.
Okay. Then means we have to count or it will show us?
There can be some procedure given to you, that length of list, some procedure like that. Or even if you have to count, how will you count? See, that is where this comes in, that you have to examine each item by yourself. That is, iterate over each item by yourself. Okay.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
like in loops we do. Just like if I want to count how many cards are there in table 1. So what will I do? I will write iterate, like while more cards are left in table 1, pick a card X and count equals to count plus 1, where count has been initialized to 0. Right? So at the end I will know
One more variable should be there for counting.
why you're just counting the number of cards.
Yes.
See, I have a data set of 30 cards, right? 30 cards. But I don't know how many cards are there. Say I do not know. I know there are some X cards there. My question is, I want to find out. I just have the table 1 where these cards are present. What will I write if I want to count the number of cards? While more cards in table 1, pick a card X. Okay. So this is all within the while loop, and count equals to count plus 1.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay.
And before that, obviously, you have to initialize count to 0. So once all cards are exhausted, count will give me what? If I print count in the end here, number of cards, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So what did you do here? You iterated over every single element in table 1, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's exactly what we do in a list as well. I just told you, right, that the length of list. How will you calculate the length of a list? That is how many elements are there. So you have to individually access every element till you exhaust the list. So that is what typically we need to iterate over a list to perform any operation. Okay, we have to examine each item and we have to process it appropriately. We'll see how processing lists goes. So see, typically this stuff we need to do, but right, like in case of while loop, we were writing this one, no? Pick a card X, right? Just like that, in case of lists, you have an operator called the for each operator. So we write for each X in L, where X is an element and L is the list. X is an element in list L. Okay. So this is how we access an element in a list, by using this for each operator. All right.
No, ma'am, not clear.
Okay, ma'am.
So when yeah, see. Okay. First check this. So in a while loop, what were we doing? While more cards in table 1, that is table 1 is not yet empty, pick a card X. So we are picking a card from that table, right? From the remaining cards. Just like that, in a list, say I have a list called L and there are certain elements in it. And I am calling each element as X when I'm first accessing them. So I write for each X in L. That means I am accessing an element in L sequentially, just like we were doing in case of a loop. Okay. So instead of writing pick X,
Okay.
pick a card X, we are writing for each X in L. Simple. So L is your list and X is your element in that list. And once I pick it in this for each block, I can write do something with X. I want to say like extract some data or add something. Maybe there is a list of ages of students, say 10, 12, 15, 17. Okay, this is a list. This is a list called age. Okay, say my agenda is to add 5 years to the age of every student. Okay, I want to add 5 years to the age of every student. So what will I do? I will write for each.
Append the list.
No, you don't need to append. See, for each X in L or age. In this case, I'm calling my list as age. Okay, I will write
Yes, ma'am.
X equals to X plus 5 and close it. Correct? This is how I manipulate it. So for every element, I will pick till I've exhausted the list. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So at the
Yes,
end
ma'am.
of it, yeah. So at the end of it, age list will have 15, 17, 20, 22. So just instead of writing pick card, you write for each. Okay, that is all. And X iterates through values in L. Just like that X, pick card X, It was nothing. It was just picking sequential cards. Just like that, here X also picks individual elements from the list. Okay, we will be using this for each a lot, so be familiar with it. Next is how do we process lists? Okay. Now let's make it a little bit more complicated. Last time, what did we do? We first found all the students who were born in May, and then we found all the students who are from Chennai. Now, if I want to know who are all the students who are born in May and also from Chennai, then we will use this for each in nested condition. So everyone remembers the concept of nested while loops, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Yeah. Go on.
Ma'am, nested condition act as a AND condition or condition?
Cannot totally say it will act as an AND condition, but yeah, nested means that for the outer loop I will pick an element, and for that element I will exhaust the entire inner loop. That is the thing. So it might not always work, right? Maybe your outer pile has, it's not AND or basically. Say your outer pile has 5 cards. Okay, and your inner pile has say 3 cards. Maybe you're picking from 2 different piles. Pile 1, pile 2. Pile 1 has 10 cards, pile 2 has 5 cards. Okay. So every time I pick a card from pile 1 in the outer loop, I will run the inner loop 5 times for all the 5 cards from pile 2. Okay. And once I have done, I will again go back to the outer loop and increment it and pick the second card from pile 1. Again, for the second card from pile 1, I will run it 5 times, the inner loop. So for every card in pile 1, I will compare it with every single card in pile 2. Okay. So how many iterations in total? 50. 10 into 5.
Ma'am, not clear.
Okay. So nested while is not here.
No, this one. This pseudocode.
This pseudocode I haven't yet taught. Okay. I am just explaining to him. Whoever asked, is nested while clear for you? Do you need me to write the code?
Ma'am, it will be helpful.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Let's say I have 2 tables. Okay. Table 1 has age of students from say bio department. Okay. And table 2 has age of students from computer science department. Okay. This much is okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now what is my agenda? I want to compare the ages of both. Like I want to find the person. Okay, let's say I want to find all such students from bio and CS who have the same age. Like all such pairs. From one student from bio, one student of CS who have the same age. Say I want to find that. Okay. So what will be my pseudocode for that? See, I have to run 2 loops. So the outer loop, I can take either bio or CS in the outer loop, doesn't matter. So while I'm writing more students in table 1, pick a card X. Okay. And now I will nest it with, like this is the outer while. Okay. Within its block, I have another while where I will write while more students in table 2. Pick again. Now within this while I'm doing pick a card Y. And once I have picked both cards, what will I do? If X dot age, say age is some attribute, is equal to Y dot age, then within the if block I am incrementing count. Count equals to count plus 1. So it will give me what? The number of such pairs of students from bio and CS where their ages are equal.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is your nested loop concept, nothing more. Okay. So
Yes.
if I have say I have 10 students in bio and 7 students in CS. So how many times will my loop have to iterate? Both the loops, like total how many iterations do I need?
17.
10 into 7. 70 iterations. Why? because every time I pick a card from table 1, table 1 means bio, so 10 students. So every time I pick a card, inner loop will iterate how many times? Table 2 has 7 people, so it has to compare with all 7 people, right? For every student in bio, I have to compare him with all students in CS. So 10
Yes.
students in bio and 7 students in CS, so 10 into 7, 70. Clear?
Clear, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Now this is the same concept is used in for each, nested for each. Okay. Just we were picking from a table till now, and now we are picking the elements from a list. That is the only difference. Okay. So what do I want? All students born in May who are from Chennai. So let me have a list called May Chennai list. Okay, this is my empty list. This is where I want the names of these people who are born in May and from Chennai. So I'm first initializing the empty list. Now, remember I had one May list and one Chennai list from those previous pseudocodes.
Yes, ma'am.
So now for each person, each sequence number in that May list, I will compare it with each sequence number in Chennai list. If the sequence number matches, that means I will append it to my May Chennai list. For example, let's say May list contains what? Tell me. May list contains what?
People who were born in May.
Student from Chennai.
Students
So
who born
sequence
in
number
May,
of
in the
students
month of
born in May, correct?
yes,
Correct.
And
Correct.
Chennai list is sequence number
yes,
of
ma'am.
students who are from Chennai, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Means born in May and from Chennai.
I'm asking about the individual lists. Okay, May list is for people born in May. Chennai
Ha.
list is for people from Chennai.
Correct.
Now let's say May list has these elements 12, 15, 23, 37, and 56. Okay, these are the sequence numbers. Let's say I have found these people are born in May, and in Chennai list, let's say I have 10, 15, 20, 23. So now, after I have completed the entire iterations, my May Chennai list will contain what? Can anyone tell me?
Ma'am, 15 and 23.
Correct. 15 and 23. So basically, what are we doing? An intersection of the two lists, right?
Yes.
That is, we are finding elements that are common in both.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That is it. See, and how am I finding if they're common or not? By using this if condition, x equal to y. This is doing what? This is just seeing if the sequence numbers are matching or not. Correct. X is what?
Yes,
A
ma'am.
sequence number, because every
In May
element in
list.
May list is a sequence number. Yeah.
Yes.
And Y is also a sequence number. Every element in Chennai list is a sequence number of a student. So
Yes,
wherever
ma'am.
the sequence numbers match, wherever there is a collision, that sequence number will be added to my May Chennai list. So it will obviously follow both the conditions. It is born in May and lives in Chennai. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, it's look like your end condition. No?
No, but we can also do, if we remove that condition, it would become a Cartesian product as well, right, ma'am? Yeah.
If you
And
remove
then
the if
add
condition,
x and y as pairs,
yeah, you can add. Yeah, you can
then
add
it
them
would
as
become a
pairs, and it is a Cartesian product. Yeah. But then it will
So
not
it's
be
not
a
not
list of
and
single elements like this, right? Then it will be a
Right.
list of pairs.
Right.
Okay.
But the other person was saying that it's an and condition. It's an
It's
and
not
condition because of this if condition.
Yeah,
Because of this if condition, we have made it and.
see, you are asking that whenever we take two loops, does it mean that those two loops
No.
condition have to be satisfied? Is it an and like that? So it's
Right,
not
which
like
is
that.
yes,
It
which is
might
not
happen that so it might happen that after I have exhausted my outer loop, of course I won't go into the inner loop, right? So it is not an actual and. We are just finding combinations. Okay.
that's correct.
Just comparing values from two lists. That's it. And if you do not put a condition, this if condition, if I remove and I just want to add the pairs, like, okay, if you want a Cartesian product, you just remove this part, if part you just remove, and in May Chennai list, here you write, instead of x, you will write x comma y, right? And it will give you all such pairs. Better to put it within a single bracket as well. So In that list, the elements will be in doubles, x comma y, x1 comma y1, x2 comma y2, like that. Correct?
Yes.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes,
If the outer loop exhausts, even then the inner loop has some elements, then it won't
Inner loop will
enter
always have
into.
elements, correct? Inner loop is
Uh,
doing what? It is just iterating from first to last for every outer loop element. So inner loop, we will not even go into inner loop if outer loop is exhausted. Outer loop is the controller here. As long as there are elements in outer loop, we will keep iterating the inner loop.
okay.
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 And about that Cartesian product, if that was the case, if that is what we wanted to store, then May Chennai list would look like this: 12, 10, 12, 15. Okay, so all combinations with 12 first, then all combinations with 15, then with 23, 37, 56, like this. So how many total? 20 combinations, because 5 elements here, 4 elements here, 5 cross 4.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. What are you asking?
Ma'am, I have a doubt. Ma'am, the outer loop which you
Hmm.
mentioned that it will continue iterating. I'm not clear on that. I mean, once we are, we have found that 15 and 23 is the card wherein people from May and people from Chennai is matching. Then what are we going to do? I mean, the entire list is exhausted.
See, after you pick 23 from the outer list, like that is May list, right? Wait, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No, I mean the person was asking, you can hear me, right? I think she got cut off.
Ma'am, can you send the PDF of this link?
You do have all these slides there in your supplementary contents.
I was trying to find it. I'm not able to find it.
Okay, I'll show you in the end of the session how to get it. Okay. If you still don't get it, I will just post it on Discourse. No problem.
No, I'm a qualified student. I did not get disclosed till now.
Okay, Google forum is there now. I can post it there.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So is that person in the class who asked this question, or do I explain this? Others, do you need to know? Yeah. Yes, Soumya Gupta.
Ma'am, I was asking that what is the difference between string and character data type?
A single character data type has a character. Like C. This is a character. But when I write any word, say change, this is a
Okay.
string.
Ma'am,
Character has a single character value.
what if I write change in double quote, then it is also a string?
It is also a string. Yeah. Anything that has just one character. Okay, that is a cat type of value.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So I don't think she's in the class. Do I need to explain this again? Anyone? How the outer loop, inner loop is working?
No, no, ma'am. It's clear.
No, ma'am, clear.
Okay, if that person comes back, I will get back to it again. Okay, so this lecture is over. 1 second, let me change the slides.
Ma'am, when will be the mock is appear? For
Mock will be
week 1
released
problem.
today only, I think. Mock was released.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I asked a query and then there was a power cut at my end, so I could
Yeah,
not
I
listen.
get. Okay, no problem. I'll tell you now. Wait.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Visible screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you are not understanding the outer loop, right? How it's working. Look.
Ma'am, after we have iterated over the entire list of cards, it's we are getting the answer as 15 and 23. Then
Yeah.
what, ma'am?
And it's done. See, first I will iterate outer loop and for value 12, right? That is the first value. When 12 comes, then for each y in Chennai list, that is 12, I will compare with 10, 15, 20, 23, and I will not find a match, correct?
Correct.
So nothing will be appended to the list. Next 15 I will pick. Again for 15, I will compare with all 4 and I will find a match with 15 here.
Correct.
So that will be appended to my May Chennai list, right? Next, again 23 will find a match, again append to the list. So my list now has 1523, correct? May
Correct.
Chennai list.
Correct.
Now outer loop will again go for 37 and check it with all 4 elements, no match. Again go for 56, no match. So now my outer loop is exhausted, so no more iterations.
Okay.
That's it.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, now this one. Wait. Big enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now this part is interesting. Okay, so identifying top students. Now this is our agenda. So we want to find students who are doing well in all subjects. That is among the top 3 marks in each subject. So what are the students we want to find? Remember in last week, we were doing that, finding the highest marks in each subject, right? All that we were doing. So now
Yes.
I want to find students who are doing well in all subjects, and well is defined by what? That they have scored among top 3 marks in all subject. Clear? Problem statement clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's write it down simply. Students who have scored top 3 marks in all subjects. Clear? They are the students who are doing good and we want information about them. How do we identify them?
Ma'am, can you repeat the question once again?
Students who have scored top 3 marks in all 3 subjects. Okay? In all subjects.
Oh,
They
okay.
are among the toppers. Okay. Now, what is my requirement? First, tell me. First, I need to know what are the top 3 marks in each subject. Correct? Correct?
Yes.
Correct, ma'am.
Now you tell me, if I want to find any such student who has scored among the top 3 marks, what will be my cutoff? The least top 3 mark, like the third highest mark, right? Like anyone who has scored above the third highest mark should be taken into consideration, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
So my first agenda is to find that cutoff. Okay, that is the third highest mark. For that, this is your procedure. Okay. So we want to find the third highest marks, and that will be our cutoff to eliminate students or choose students who are doing well. So for that, you first need a variable max. We will initialize it to 0. Second max, that to initialize it to 0. Third max, that also initialize it to 0. Now look very carefully, okay? While table 1 has more rows, so I pick a card. Okay, all 3 variables, max, second max, third max, what do they represent? Max represents the first highest mark in a subject. Second max represents second highest marks in a subject. Third max represents third highest marks in a subject. Correct? Now I pick a card from table 1. Read the first row X in table 1 means pick the first card. Now say I am finding this, what is the parameter in this procedure? Subject, which means I can calculate, say I am calculating this for chemistry. I want to find the third highest marks in chemistry. Okay. So X dot subject will be what? X dot?
Chemistry.
Right.
Chemistry.
Right. So I will take the first card and I will see if that student, whatever his chemistry marks is it greater than 0? Okay. Is it greater than 0
Yes,
or
ma'am.
not? So let's say
Yes,
the
ma'am.
first person has scored 56 in chemistry. Okay. First person. So 56 greater than max, max is 0. So obviously 56 greater than 0. So now what we are doing? We will put the value of second max in third max and max in second max and X dot subject in max. Okay. So don't get
Ma'am, not
confused.
clear. Ma'am, not clear. The first if statements.
Look, first I have initialized 3 variables to 0. Max, second max, third max. This is what?
Correct.
Max
Yes.
will contain the first highest marks in chemistry. Second max will contain second highest. Third max will contain third highest. Right?
Correct, ma'am.
Now, while table 1 has more rows, read the first row. That is, I'm picking the first card. And I am reading, okay. So in this procedure, let's say we are running this procedure for the chemistry subject. That is the parameter, right? You can put any subject in parameter. Okay, let's say
Then
we're doing.
parameter, I mean, what we are trying to do. Yeah.
I explained parameters right in last class. Okay, I'll tell you again. See, in any procedure, we might pass some parameters. That is, procedures are written in general. Okay. So, what subject you want to use that procedure for? Like, what subject's third highest mark you want to calculate?
Okay.
That you can enter in the parameter.
Got it. Got it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's say I'm doing it for chemistry. So the first if block, what will it will do is x dot subject means x dot chemistry here because I'm interested in chemistry marks. That's my parameter. So I will read his chemistry marks. Say the first card has chemistry marks 56. I will compare it with the first highest. So is max greater than 56 greater than 0? Yes. What will I do? Now this part is important. In third max variable, I will store the value of second max. And in second max, I will store the value of max. And in max, I will store the value of whatever this was. That is 56. So right now, it doesn't make any sense. I know because everything was 0. Right? So obviously, now max has 56, but third max and second max still have 0.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's say, one second. Huh? Say some student has scored 80. Next card I pick. So this if block is over, right? And I will again move to the next iteration and pick another one. Will I go for these if blocks?
No, ma'am.
I do not need to, right?
I don't. Yes, not needed.
If this if block was not satisfied, then I'd move to this one. Next one. So next card say some student has scored 80 marks in chemistry. Again, first if block I will come. Now max has what? 56. Right? So is 80 greater than 56?
Yes,
No.
Yes.
Okay. Who said no? Somebody said no. Very good.
No, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. See, 56 is less than 80. Correct. So third max will now contain second max. What did second max have till now? 0. Correct. In the last iteration, when I stored third max into second max into third max and max into second max. So what was max's previous value? 0. That was stored in second max. And second max was also 0. That was stored in third max. And max had 56. Correct? This was in last iteration.
Correct,
Now in
ma'am.
this iteration, I have seen that 80 is greater than 56. So again in third max, I am storing second max. So second max had 0. So third max will still contain 0. And in second max, I'm storing max, which was 56. So now second max has 56.
Okay.
And x dot subject, this one is 80. So max has 80 now. Clear? In this
Yes, ma'am.
iteration, after it, this will be the value of the three variables.
Okay.
Any confusion till now?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's see. Say the next card comes and one second. Okay. So the next card comes and someone has scored 65 in the third card. So is 65 greater than max? What is max now? 80. Is 65 greater than 80?
No.
So I can't
ma'am.
enter this if block. I will go to the next one. Okay. Is 80 greater than 65? Max is 80. X
Yes,
subject
ma'am.
is 65. Yes. But
Yes, ma'am.
and so one more condition. And means it has to satisfy both conditions, right? So is 65 greater than second max? Second max is what now? 56.
56.
Yes, ma'am.
This condition is
56.
also satisfied, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So both
Yes,
conditions
ma'am.
are satisfied. I can enter this if block. What will I do? I will put second max's value into third max. That is just shift the values. Okay, keep shifting the values. So second max
Third
contained
max
what?
will be 56.
Yeah. So now third max, I am just writing TM. Third max will be 56 and second max has x dot subject. So second max now has 65 and max is not updated because we already know that max is greater than x dot subject. Correct. So max remains the same, 80. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So next, let us say, so this iteration is done. Okay. Now, one second. Okay. Now let's say the fourth student has scored marks of 46. Okay. Now let us check. Okay, clear what is stored in all our variables? Max has 80, second max has 65, third max has 56, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now the fourth card comes in and the student has scored 46 in chemistry. So first if condition, is x dot subject greater than max? Is 46 greater than 80?
No.
So this if block
No,
cancelled.
ma'am.
Second if block. Okay, let me wipe it. It's becoming very messy. Okay. Yeah, 1 second. I'll take all doubts. Let me clear this first. Okay. Next if block. So max 80. Is it greater than x dot subject 46? Yes.
Yes.
So max is 80. This is 46. So condition satisfied. Second, because and condition is there. So both have to be satisfied. Is 46 greater than second max? What does second max have? 65. Is 46 greater than 65?
No, ma'am.
So I cannot enter this if block as well. So now what will I do? I'll go to the third if block. Now tell me, is second max greater than x dot subject? 65 is second max and x dot subject is 46. Is it true?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And this condition also, is x dot subject, that is 46, greater than third max?
No, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
That is third max is 56.
56.
So will I update any variable?
No.
Oh,
So it remains the same. Okay. Now let's see one more thing. Let me wipe this. Okay. Now fifth card. Alright. Fifth card has value 59. Okay. So this is my last card. I have value 59. Okay. So I come in. Is 59 greater than max?
No, ma'am.
You just say yes or no.
no,
59
ma'am.
greater than max?
No, ma'am.
So if block I won't enter. First if block. Second. Is 80 greater than 59?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And is 59 greater than 65?
No.
No, ma'am.
So second block also I cannot enter. Third block. Is 65 greater than 59?
Yes.
Is 59 greater than 56?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes,
both
ma'am.
conditions satisfied. So what do I have to do? I have to assign that value to third max. So now third max is upgraded from 56 to 59. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you understand the working? How I am
Yes,
finding
ma'am.
the first, second, and third highest marks? This
Yes,
is how the
ma'am. Yes.
comparison will be. Okay. If you want, you can trace this code at home. Take a value of take a data set and just trace this code. It will work fine. Okay. Now after I've exhausted, say I only had 5 cards. So everything is done, and every time I am done with my operations on the card, I will move that card to table 2 so that I do not check the same card twice, right? So after all the iterations are over, after your while loop is over, I will return third max. Why? Why am I returning third max? Why not second max or max?
Can you repeat?
Which part?
Ma'am, just previous one.
I'm just asking that after your while loop is over, your while loop started here, ends here.
Yes, ma'am.
Then
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
returning third max. Why am I not returning max or second max?
Ma'am, if you return third max, that means the others are above that.
Exactly. And I
So,
want a cutoff, right?
right.
So cutoff will be the least highest mark. Right? Third max is the least highest mark, top 3. So that is one that I need. So I will return third max. So for every subject, this procedure will return to you the third highest mark in that subject, which will act as the cutoff to find those students who are doing well in all subjects. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Now see, this is the same procedure. Any question? Yeah, Rakesh. What do you want to
Ma'am.
ask?
I am out in week 4.
week 4 doubts I will take in the end if I have time. Otherwise, Friday and Saturday sessions are just for revision from week 1 to 4, so you can ask there.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
before that, so we only calculating the third max here.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the iteration, you will get the first highest, second highest, as well as third highest marks in these three variables. But you are only returning the third max because I do not need the other two. I just
Why?
need the third highest.
Why, ma'am? We want to top
Because,
three.
no, see, what is my agenda? I wrote the problem statement. See, so I want to find all students who have scored top 3 marks in all subjects. That means their score should be within the top 3 marks in every subject. So, as soon as I know that they have scored the third highest or greater than the third highest, that means their marks are in top 3, right? If they have scored greater than third highest or equal to third highest, that means they are in top 3, correct? For that subject.
Okay.
So that is why I want the third highest, that is the least highest mark.
Okay.
That is your cutoff. Just like when you give exams, right? Any exam has some cutoff. So what is the cutoff? That mark above which everyone has passed. So that is the thing here.
Okay.
Okay. Now see, what is the use of lists here? What we can do is we can construct a list of top students in each subject. So when we enter this, right, when we return this third max, sorry. So when we return this third max, using this and my other cards, right, I can form a list of top students in each subject. That is possible, right? Because I know what is the highest and I can compare and find out who has scored that, right? And I can identify students who are present in all three lists. Now look, this is how I construct the list. So first of all, cutoff maths. Cutoff maths variable contains what? Top 3 marks mathematics. This top 3 marks mathematics will return what? Tell me. What is the top 3 marks procedure? This,
Third highest mark in mathematics.
yeah. So this will give me third highest in maths. This will give me third highest in physics. This will give me third highest in chemistry. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So these variables contain what? The cutoffs in each subject. Okay. Next, now see, we are using this to construct the lists. Okay. Math list, physics list, chem list. What does math list what will math list contain? It will contain the names of all such students who are among the toppers in maths in the subject mathematics. Okay. That is who have scored among the top 3 marks in maths. Those students will be present in maths list. Physics list will contain names of those students who have scored among the top 3 marks in physics. Similarly in chemistry. Clear? We have just initialized the lists. That is why empty list symbol. Next, what do we do? Obtain cutoffs in each subject. Okay. So this step is over. Initialize list is over. Now we have to scan each row. Okay. How do we do that? Now look at this procedure. Start from this while. Okay. While table 1 has more rows, read the first row X in table 1. So now again, I am back to my data set. I am picking the first card in table 1. Alright. So it is the card of some student. Okay. Some student of say sequence number 12. Sequence or ID, whatever you call it. Let's say sequence number 12 is the first card I picked. Now for that card, I will find what is the mathematics marks. I will extract that mark. Okay. Clear. And I will compare. Is that mathematics marks greater than the cutoff marks in maths? I have already obtained cutoff maths here. Right? And I have already initialized the maths list here. So now when I pick a card and I extract the mathematics marks, I will compare it with the cutoff in maths. That is the third highest in math. If it is greater than or equal to the cutoff, then I will append that sequence number to the maths list. Is this correct? Any doubt from this part?
No, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Next, I will extract the physics marks, okay, from that same card. So x dot physics means physics marks from card X. And I will again compare if it is greater than or equal to the cutoff for physics, means third highest marks in physics. If so, I will append it to the physics list, that sequence number, otherwise no. Same for chemistry, I will check. If it is greater than or equal to the cutoff, add to the list, otherwise no. So how many lists are there? I have in total 3 different lists, one for maths, one for physics, one for chem. So say this 12, this student with sequence number 12 has scored more than the cutoff in all 3 subjects. So they will be present, so 12 will be present in math list, physics list as well as chemistry list, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello. Ma'am, here physics list plus X sequence. Here is 2 plus Y.
Why? I in the beginning of the session I told you what is append. That is add more elements to a list. What is the symbol for append? Plus plus.
Okay.
Plus plus means I'm adding some element to the list. Okay.
Okay.
Who is asking this? Okay, you. Tell me, can I write it? Is this the same thing? You only will tell, no one else. Maths list. Say I want to append this X sequence number, right? So I'm writing maths list equal to maths list plus X dot sequence number. Is this okay? Is this correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else wants to try? Is this correct?
No, ma'am. Square brackets.
No, ma'am. Square will.
Look, square brackets, if you write without the square bracket, it will make no sense, because whenever we talk of equality, that means whatever is on the left hand side should be of the same type of data as the right hand side. If you just add X dot sequence number, it is an element. We do not know if that element belongs to a list. To make sure that an element is a list element, we have to put square brackets. So maths list is a list type of data. If I want to add something to it, it also has to be a list type of data. So you cannot just write X dot sequence number, you have to put the square brackets. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. So what am I doing after all the iterations are completed in this while loop? What will maths list contain? Try. What will maths list contain?
All students
Max
who have
second
exceeded the cutoff mark in maths.
Correct. Or they who have scored at least the cutoff, right?
Right.
Okay. Similarly for physics and chemistry. And after each iteration, we are moving the card to table 2 so that no card is repeated. Clear? So we have scanned each row now. And for each subject, we have checked if the marks are within the top 3 by using this if condition. If so, that is if is satisfied, only then append to the list for that subject. Next. Now we are trying to find what? The overall toppers. How are we going to find that? We have to compare within the lists now, right? How do you pick an element in a list? How do you process elements in list? What operator? What operator do you need to access an element in a list? No one.
Plus.
Access an element. I'm not saying append.
For each.
For each. Correct. So whenever I want to access elements in a list, I use for each operator. Okay. So now I want to find the overall toppers. Overall toppers are who? See, I have 3 lists. Let me write. So say maths list has these sequence numbers. Okay. 5, 10, 12, 24, 36, 42, 57. These are all present in math list. These sequence number students have scored at least the cutoff or greater than the cutoff in maths. Next I have say the physics list. Okay. In physics list, say I have 6, 10, 14, 24, 36, 48, 51. These students have scored greater or equal to the cutoff in physics. Okay. Now okay, let me write the chemistry list as well. This is the chemistry list. Let's say I have 6, 10, 15, 24, 37, 49, 57. These people have scored greater than or equal to the cutoff in chemistry. Now to find the toppers, that is students who have scored greater than or equal to cutoff in all three subjects, I have to find what? Intersection of all three lists, that is elements that are present in all three lists, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What are those in here?
10 and 24.
Correct. So my final list, whatever it is, will contain, that is the list of toppers will contain just 10 and 24. Now when we do this compare elements between lists, we typically just take elements from two lists so that it is not more complicated than that. Okay, it is easier to compare between two lists than three lists, of course. You know that the further we do the nesting, the more number of comparisons will be there, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So we just perform nested usually in two loops, it is better. So what we can do is, let's say pick any two lists. Okay, let's say we pick maths and physics first and form a maths physics list. This maths physics list will contain what? All students who have scored greater than or equal to the cutoff in both maths and physics. How will I find that? So for each x, first initialize maths physics list with an empty list. Now for each x in maths list, that is for each element in the maths list, that is we'll start from 5. Nested loop is what? For each y in physics list. That is for every x, we will go through all the y's and we will compare if x equal to y. If the sequence number matches, then append it to maths physics list. So first we will start with 5, right? Now check, is 5 anywhere present in physics list? First we'll check with 6, 10, 14, like this we'll exhaust the list till we know that there are no more elements present and no match is found. Correct? So like that, when I go for the next iteration 10, will I find a match? This will be true.
Yes,
If x
ma'am.
equal to y.
Hmm.
When will it be true? When in the inside loop I have reached 10, that is physics list. Inside loop is iterating over physics list and outer loop is iterating over maths list. Correct? So for every element in maths list, we are checking with all elements in physics list. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll find a match. Again, I will find a match with 24. Again, I'll find a match with 36. Correct? So after all the iterations, what will maths physics list contain?
10 and 24.
10, 24, and 36.
Yes, all three. But don't consider the chemistry list yet. I'm just comparing between maths and physics. So 10, 24, 36. Correct.
Hmm.
Next, what do we do? So now I have
Now
got my
we have
maths
to.
physics list.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we have to compare with the chemistry list. But which list will I compare with? Will I compare again with
Maths
maths or is
physics
it?
list.
Math
No,
physics
ma'am.
list.
Maths physics
Right.
list with chemistry.
Yes. So now I have already got my common people who have topped both in maths and physics, and I will compare them with the chemistry list. Okay. So again,
Hmm.
for each x in maths physics list, we will compare with every y in chemistry list. Wherever the sequence numbers collide, we will know that that sequence number needs to be appended to the list. So in our example, in 10, 24, 36. So first for 10, we will check this entire list. We will find a match here. Correct? So 10 is appended to our final list. Again for 24, we'll find a match here. 24 is appended. But for 36, I won't find a match. So it is not appended. And our final maths, physics, chemistry list will contain 10 and 24. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Clear for everyone how we compared lists?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any
Yes, ma'am.
doubt from this whole part? Anything like
No,
from
ma'am.
this top 3
No,
marks?
no, ma'am.
So, okay, very good. Okay. See, someone is asking, right, that do list elements always are they of the same data type? See, lists are useful to collect items that share some property. Okay. We always take lists when there is a collection of some elements that have something in common. Okay, usually that's what lists are used for. Now, nested iterations can do what? They can find common elements across two lists, just like now we did. Nested iterations between physics and maths lists. gave us what? Common elements between two lists, that is found an intersection within the lists. Can group lists to process more than two lists. So we did a grouping, right? When we did the maths physics list, that is we were taking elements from both lists, comparing them, and if our condition worked, we were adding them to a new list. Correct? So if I want to find common items across, I can find like it's maths, physics, chemistry here. I can add computer science or biology. More subjects can be added, correct? So in that
Yes.
case, our individual lists will also increase. So I might have 4, 5, 6, however many lists, right? So we
Yes,
can
ma'am.
want to find common elements across all of them. What is the way? Just keep comparing the list. So you can go like this. Wait. One way to go is first list 1, list 2. Then the result with list 3. Then the result with list 4. Or you can just pick any two lists in random. List 2, list 3. With list 4. That result with list 1. It will still give you the same thing. Correct? Do not have to go in any order. You can just pick two lists. Any two lists.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is what is given here. Nested iteration of on list 1 and list 2 constructs list 1, 2 of common items. Just like that. Or if you want to pick list 3 and 4, it will construct list 3 and 4. Like that. You can also do it like this. List 1 and 2 together. List 3 and 4 together. And the result then together. Right? Any comparison will work. So that's it. Next, we will learn about, yeah, what is it? Any question?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, is it possible to detach an element from list?
Remove an element from a list?
Yes, ma'am. Like that.
Yeah, I think yeah, it is possible. Yeah. So we will be learning about operations on lists. Okay. Let's do that. So I'm hoping these things are clear. Whatever I've taught till now.
Yes,
Now we
ma'am.
will
Yes,
learn
ma'am.
about. Now we will learn about your operations on list. Okay. This is the most important part, and you will be getting questions from there. What I'm going to say now. Wait. So if you want the annotated slides, like whatever I've written on the slides, if you want all of this also, just tag me on Discord on a post and I will give it to you. Okay.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. See, whether you watch the lectures or not, you definitely should watch the lectures. Even if you can't finish all of them, please watch the tutorial. There is only one tutorial given after lecture 6. Okay. Please watch the tutorial. So these are
Okay,
the,
ma'am.
yeah, these are the same things from the tutorial only. I will just explain all the pseudocodes to you. These are the list functions. Okay, these are the functions that we perform on a list. Now, in the beginning of the class, someone was asking that if I was storing the sequence numbers of all such students who were born in May, how will I know how many students were born in May? That is what? The length of the list, that is how many elements are in the list, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is your first function, length. L is nothing, L is a parameter. Every function is given some parameter, right? Functions are procedures, just like that top 3 marks. That was a procedure. So every procedure or every function needs a parameter. Okay? Because they are written in general. Which list do you want them to act upon? You have to pass that as a parameter. So length L means length of list L. Okay? Similarly, there are other functions like first, last, rest, init, member. These 4 especially very important. Okay? Very, very important for your exams as well.
Ma'am, what does the rest mean?
I will explain all the procedures. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So here we have the pseudocode for all 7 procedures. Let us go through them one by one. So this is your L list. Okay. It has values 20, 30, 40, 50, 10. Okay. So just by looking at this list, you can tell its length is 5. Correct. Because it has 5 elements.
Yes, ma'am.
But the list, if it's not given to you, one second. Yeah. So if the list is not given to you, I have just given you that, yeah, there is some list L having X elements. I want to know what is the length of the list. What will you do? Then you go to the length procedure or function. So within length, I'm passing my list L. That is this list. Now first I will initialize a variable count. Okay, count is initialized to 0. Count will do what? It will count the number of elements in list L. So for each X in L, that is each element in list L, we increment the value of count. So every time I pick up an element or access an element in list L, I will increment count by 1. Okay, and after I have, so this for each does what? It will run how many times? In case of this list, this iteration will run how many times?
6 times.
I'm not asking that. I'm asking what? How many times will this inner block iterate? This count equal to count plus 1.
5 times.
5 times. Yeah, you are
5
right saying
times.
6 times because, yeah, because I don't know till the 6th time that the list is exhausted. When I come to pick up X again, then I will see no more X is left, right? That is your 6th, but that is not counted as an iteration because the inner block is not executed. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So 5 times fully I will iterate because that is the length of my list. So after, at the end of like when you have exhausted the list, you will return count, and count will contain the value what in this case? Count equals to,
Number of elements in the list.
yeah, and what is that? 5.
5.
So count will return 5 in case of this list. So if you pass this list as a parameter in the length function, it will return you 5. Clear how to find length?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next is first function. L is what? Again, this same list I'm passing as parameter. So first function does what? It returns the first element of a list. Simple. So what will you do? First L. Now for each X in L, that is each element in list L, return X. It's a little tricky. Do you know what is happening here? How am I getting just 20 as answer?
Yes, ma'am.
How?
First of
Ma'am,
L
because it
means
returns the
first
first
value
element
of
of the
the
list.
list is 20.
Yeah, but what is happening in this for each block? Why isn't it running for all 5?
Ma'am, one
Why is it not running for all 5? I am writing for each X in L, so it should go
You're returning immediately in the loop. So it would
exactly.
execute only once.
Exactly. So when I write for each X in L, we usually expect that it will iterate through all the elements in L. But in the first iteration itself, I'm returning X. And when I return, I am finished with the function. I won't go for any more iterations. Once I've returned the value of a function, that procedure is over. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So we write
Yes, ma'am.
return X. So in the first iteration only, it will return. That is, return the first value that it encounters in the list. So 20. First clear?
Yes, ma'am.
No,
Yes,
ma'am, I'm
ma'am.
not clear on this. Please.
Okay. Look, so I take this first function and I pass this list as parameter, this list. Okay. Now within this procedure, what we do? For each X in L, that is for each element in list L, 20, 30, 40, 50, 10, these are the elements. So for each such element, we run this inner block. Okay. Now the question is, how do I get just 20 when I'm running it for every iteration? Like for each means it will access every element, right? Till it has exhausted the list.
We
So
will only, since it is first, so we will only get 20 as it is the first element.
yeah, but we are getting just that 20 and not anything more is because we are returning in the first iteration itself. So when it
Okay.
encounters the first element 20 in list and it
Mm-hmm.
will enter the for each block, it will return that. And once I have written the return statement, no more iterations are possible. Okay.
Okay.
So
Got it.
the entire procedure is over after I return the value.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
and ma'am, if
So I
you
hope first
want
is clear.
all the elements, hello,
Yeah.
if you want to reflect all the element as output, so what should I do in the place of return X? Like if you want all the elements like 20, 30, 40, 50, 10.
So you can just print the list itself.
Return L.
Yeah, like not
Oh.
L actually. What you can do is maybe put them in a list. Okay, access them all and print them here only. Okay, best thing is to do for each x in L, print x. So
Yes,
that
yes,
will
got
work,
it,
right?
ma'am. Yes, yes, ma'am, got it.
Okay. Now is last L. What it will do? Simple, right? It is just going to return the last element. How am I going to do that?
Yes.
So last procedure, it will have parameter L. So for each x in L, that is each element in list L, I will enter the for each block, and I have some variable e. I haven't initialized it to anything. You can just pick a variable. This is just pseudocode, fine. So just pick a variable e where I store what value I encountered in my list. Correct?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
this value will get updated after every iteration. So every element I access, that element I will store in e. So after all the iterations, so first e will contain 20. Then in next iteration, next element I pick, e will contain 30. Like that, after the last iteration, e will contain
Excuse
10.
me, madam. Instead of
Yeah.
initializing x to e, can't we write return e directly? Like,
If you write return e here, so e, first of all, you haven't even initialized e to anything. E is just a random variable you have picked up. So what will it return? E doesn't have anything. So some garbage value will be returned. Right? See, whenever you return some variable that you haven't even initialized, if I initialized here e equals to 0, and then I did here return e. Okay, then it will return 0.
okay, ma'am.
But e is not even initialized. So the computer, what it does is the computer will assign some garbage value to this variable, and that will be returned.
Okay.
Okay. And you cannot
What about
use,
return just x? Return x.
if you write return x here.
Yes.
So
Instead
what
of
is the difference
initializing-
between first and last then? It is the same thing.
But
Or are you saying e equals
last
to x?
last L, no, ma'am.
No, you are saying e equals to x, then return x.
No, no, ma'am. Like first L, first function like
This
L.
is the first function. See, this is the first
Yeah,
function. What do
here
you want to do?
return x na, simply like that we cannot return for last also.
So what will be the code then if you want to just return x?
Same, ma'am, for each x in L.
Yeah, but once you issue the return statement, you cannot come back and iterate again. So it will return the first element only. After that, it will not do any more iterations. That is why we need to store and update values in a variable so that we can return that variable in the end. Look.
Okay, madam, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Look. So first, for this first iteration, x is what? 20 for the first iteration. E will contain 20 then. E will be assigned 20. Again, second iteration, I go back. 30. So now E contains 30. So this value of E will keep updating until it has exhausted the list. That is until it has reached the last element. That is 10. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So E contains
Yes, ma'am.
10. Now I have exhausted the list. So no more iterations. I will get out of this loop and go to the next statement, which is return E. So whatever value is present in E now, that I will return. That is 10. So this way you are returning the last element. Clear this procedure?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So you cannot write return here, right? Because it will end the loop after one iteration. That is why we need a variable that will keep updating till I have exhausted the list. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Next is rest. This is a very important one. Okay. So example, take this. I want to write rest is the name of the procedure, and I'm passing this list as an argument. So rest L. What is it returning? Every element except the first element. Correct? 30, 40, 50, 10. Every element except the first element. That is why it is called rest. That is, after I remove the first element, I want the rest of the list. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So how do I do this? First, I will pass the list as parameter in my procedure. Now let's start the procedure. I have a variable called found. Okay, let's take a variable called found and assign it a boolean value false. Next, I will initialize a list, an empty list called rest list. Rest list will contain basically the answer. Okay. That is
Okay.
whatever output of this rest procedure will be, that will be stored in rest list. So an empty list is initialized. Next, for each x in L, I have passed L as parameter, so you can check for every element in L. So for each x in L, in the first iteration, what is x in first iteration? What is the value of x?
20.
20.
Uh,
First element.
Hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am, could you please repeat it again? I lost my connection, so I didn't hear. Please, ma'am.
Repeat this rest part, na?
Yes, rest part, like
Okay.
from starting.
Yeah, sure. See. So rest is a procedure and I have passed this list L as my parameter here. Correct?
Hmm.
Now I have initialized a variable called found and I have assigned it a boolean value false. Boolean values are true and false, correct? So I've assigned it false. This is how I have initialized found. Next, I have initialized an empty list called the rest list. Okay. This rest list will contain the
Yes, ma'am.
output of this procedure. Okay. That is, if you apply the rest procedure on some list, whatever will be the output, that is the whole list except the first element, that will be stored in this rest list. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I was saying that since I've passed list L as parameter, I can access every element in this list. So for each x in L, what will be the first x? 20. For the first iteration, it will access the first element 20, correct?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So now you enter the for each block. If found. So I just got a question like this on Discords today only, that someone wrote that if B, like B was initialized to false. So what does if B mean? If I have put if and in condition you just have a variable, then we see whether the value of that variable is true or false. Okay, this is your condition then. If the value of the variable is true, you will enter the if block. If not, you will not enter. You will go to the else block. Okay. So not all the time you will be comparing values like if count equal to 0 or something like that. This is also one way of writing if condition. Okay. So when just a variable is passed, you have to see what is the boolean value, true or false, 1 or 0. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So found I have initialized as false. In first iteration, x is now 20. If found, will I enter the if block?
Yes, ma'am.
In the first iteration, will I enter the if block?
No, ma'am.
How will I enter? I have initialized found as false. I haven't updated found anywhere, right? I'm directly putting if found. So found is still false here for the first iteration, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I won't go into the if block. I will go to the else block and set found to true. Okay. Now next iteration. Next iteration. What is x now? 30.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. 30. If found. Now will I enter if block?
Yes, ma'am.
Because
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
found has
Yes,
been
ma'am.
updated to true. Correct? So the condition
Yes, ma'am.
satisfied. And when I enter the if
Excuse me,
block,
madam.
yeah,
This rest is a um,
rest is a
pseudocode like
function.
function, ma'am. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
All of these are functions, list functions.
okay,
Okay.
ma'am.
So if found will be true now, right? So I will enter
Yes,
the if
ma'am.
block, and within the if block, what I'm doing, I am appending x to the rest list. Rest list was initially empty, right? I just
Yes, ma'am.
initialized it. Now what does it
30.
contain? After second iteration, rest list looks like this, 30.
30. Yes, ma'am.
Now third iteration. Now
Sorry, ma'am.
41.
Why not 20? Why 30, ma'am?
because 20, I didn't even end for 20. Like the first iteration, x was 20. But
Huh.
found was false. So I didn't get to append it. I didn't enter the if block. I went to the else
Okay.
block.
Okay.
And I
Got
set found to true. Now
got.
I will go for the next iteration, right? So 30
Mm-hmm.
got appended. Again the third iteration. So now instead of 30,
48.
I have 40 here.
Got it.
Correct? Yeah. So I have 40 here. Will I enter the if block?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I haven't updated found after I set it to true. Right? Found is
Yes,
getting updated nowhere. This is the only time I'm updating found here. So after this iteration, rest list now looks like 30 comma 40 because 40 also gets appended. Just like that, 50 and 10 will also get appended because found is never set to false again, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So after the fourth iteration, it looks like 30, 40, 50. And after
10.
the fifth iteration, it will look like 30, 40, 50, 10.
10.
Now I've exhausted my list. So for each x in L is now exhausted. I have accessed all the x's in L. So now I will do what? I will get out of the for each block in this bracket. See, this bracket opens here, closes here. This bracket opens here, closes here. For each block opens here, closes here. Next, I will do return rest list. So it will return this list, correct?
Yes,
Which
ma'am.
is every element except the first element. Clear this code, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Ma'am.
ma'am, just
No,
the
ma'am.
first thing that how it is proceeding the code and why 20. Okay, I understand the first one is not it's false, so it is not adding that to the list. But then when we are coming to the else block, it is
Setting found to true.
huh. So this thing I'm not clear on this, ma'am.
Why it is setting found to true?
Huh.
See,
Because we
if
have
it
found,
Ma'am,
no, we
if
found 20 now.
found equal false is applicable for all the elements, like
then
if
no
we are
element
going
will be
to.
appended in the list, right? Because you will never be able to enter the if block is found is always false. So
So
that is
if
Is
we
why
are
the
going
rest
to start
you
with the first element like 20, so why it is discarding it?
because that is the function of this rest function. That is what we want to do with this rest function.
madam,
We
it is not a user defined function, madam. It is a
uh, it is actually, see, this is a pseudo code, right? It depends on what language you are using. Okay.
okay.
User defined functions are based on like what languages you are using. Like in Python, lot of functions are user defined and lot of functions are already there, library functions. So it depends on what language you're using.
Here this rest here in this pseudocode, how do
Even
we
if
know
it is
that 20 is
okay, so
eliminated and
whenever we talk about rest or any list function, that is why I'm defining the functions because these are the default functions. Rest will never mean anything other than this function.
okay, default functions, okay.
Yeah. So it will never mean anything other than this. Whenever I say rest L, it means that I will discard the first element of the list and take the other rest of it.
Okay, ma'am, got it.
Okay, understood,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
This
So,
is the
ma'am,
case in every pseudocode. I mean, in the rest function, the first one will be discarded and the rest will be collected.
See, all these functions, everything, okay, all
Mhm.
of these are default. So whenever we use any of these functions, they will work the exact same way. Just the list might be changed. You may pass any list as parameter. Everything else remains same.
Okay.
ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, I have doubt in week 4 assignment. Can I ask?
Week 4 I will take in the end, okay?
Okay, ma'am. What time should I join, ma'am? Should I rejoin?
I'm not sure if like within 8 o'clock I'll be able to finish this or not. If look, if by 8 I finish this, I will start taking the doubts from week 4. But there are like dedicated sessions on Friday and Saturday to take all your doubts from weeks 1 to 4. So you can join those
Okay,
also.
okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, but today's was week 4, right? We got a message saying
Yeah,
that
yeah. It was scheduled to be week 4, but week 4 already we took 3 sessions before this. That is why we started week 5 now.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
So if any doubt you have in graded assignment in week 4, we will take up in next week 5. We'll have one more session on next Monday. So in
Okay,
that session, we'll take the GA doubts from week 4. And if you
okay,
have any practice assignment or activity doubts, that you can ask in today's session if I have time or on the Friday or Saturday session.
okay, ma'am. Fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, rest is clear, everyone. Any other doubt here?
No, no, ma'am. It's clear.
Okay. So whenever you encounter rest, fast, length, these just mean the same thing. Okay, you can pass any list. Next is init. Okay. Init does what? Exact same thing, just the reverse of it. So we will discard the last element and take the rest.
Lots of rest.
Yeah, it's the reverse of rest. So we'll discard the last element and take the other 4. Right? How does it work? Let's see. So init
Ma'am,
L.
ma'am, I have a question. What is the real life use of init? Like we are using this function and init function. What is the real life use?
Real life use can be, see, usually these first and init or rest and last, these functions are used together. Okay, then they make more sense. Like you can, like someone can ask you to give me the last of the rest of this list. Say you have, okay, say you have student marks of students in physics in ascending order. All right, so someone has scored 20, someone has scored 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. This is in ascending order physics marks of students in a class. Clear?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
so now let's say I want the second highest mark. What will I do? I will do what?
Init function use.
So this is list L. So this will give me the second highest. Init L will do what? Eliminate this. Now I have the rest of the list. Correct? Then I apply last. Last will give me 40, which is the second highest. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
This is how you can use them in real life. So not init just by itself might not make much sense, but paired with last or first, it can give you meaningful data. Okay.
Ma'am, in the real life scenario, I'm not clear. Could you please pardon?
Yeah, see list L say it contains the data of students in ascending order, like students marks in physics in ascending order. So someone scored 10, someone scored 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, now I want to find the second highest mark. What will I
So,
do?
ma'am, first we will have to arrange the letters.
Say you are given this list.
Acha,
Okay,
okay,
I'm
okay.
just giving a real life scenario that you have a
Okay.
list in ascending order of marks,
Got
and
it.
you want to find the second highest mark.
Hmm.
So you can just write this line, last of init of L. So init of L will discard 50. Now I
Okay.
have the rest 4, and the last will give me the last element. So you have the second highest.
Got it, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, let's see the init function now. Now the boy who was asking, is that clear to you how it is used in real life? Oh, I hope so. Anyway, so init L, so we are passing ls parameter, correct?
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
L is what? This same list, 20, 30, 40, 50, 10. We set found variable to false again in the beginning, and we initialize an init list, which is an empty list. All right. Now for
Yes, ma'am.
each x in L, again I am accessing every element in L. If found, so first element, first iteration, 20 I have accessed, correct?
Yes,
This.
ma'am.
So if found, is this true or false? Will I
True.
enter the if block?
It's false.
True, and you can enter.
How is it true?
It is false, ma'am.
It
False.
will go to else part.
Please look at the first line. It is initialized to false, correct? How is it
Yes,
true?
ma'am.
Have I
Oh, it,
updated it anywhere?
okay, ma'am.
Okay. So for the
From
first
else
one,
part.
yes, this is a little tricky. That's why pay attention. Okay. So first found was initialized to false. Then I initialized an empty list called init list. Now I'm accessing every element in this L list
Yeah,
that
one.
I have passed in parameter. Okay. So for each x in L, so first x is 20. If found is false. So if block I won't enter. I will go to else block. If block I am not entering. So else block found I am setting it to true. So till now everything is like before last one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now see, after this we will execute this. Previous equal to x. Previous is some variable where we are storing x. So previous now has what?
20.
20.
20. Okay. Now I am going to next iteration, correct? So for
Yes,
again
ma'am.
each x in L. Now x has 30.
Yes, ma'am.
If found, will I enter if block?
True, ma'am.
So I will enter. And
Yes, ma'am.
init list I am attending plus appending previous. Previous is what? 20.
20, ma'am.
So now init list has what? 20.
20, comma 30, ma'am.
Have I appended 30 yet? I have just appended 20. Previous was 20. I
Yes,
haven't
ma'am.
updated 30 yet, right?
Okay.
So previous contains 20. So after this if block, this init list contains 20. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I go to the next iteration. Okay. Before the next iteration, I will have to execute this line. So else block is not executed, but this line I have to execute. So previous is now updated to 30. Correct?
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
x was 30 in this iteration. Now next iteration. X is 40. Will I enter if block?
Yes, ma'am.
Found is always true. I haven't updated it. So now again init list plus plus previous. Now your init list contains 20, 30. All right.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
again you update previous to 40.
40.
Now next iteration 50. X is 50. I will again enter if block. Init list again append previous. Previous is 40. So 20, 30, 40.
30, 40, ma'am.
Now last iteration 10. So X is 10. Sorry, here previous will be updated to 50. Yeah.
Yes.
Now last iteration X is 10. Again I am entering the if block and appending it previous. So 20, 30, 40,
50, ma'am.
50. So again I will update previous to 10.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
But now when I go and try to execute this statement, is there any more elements left in the list? Have I accessed all elements in the list?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so
Yes,
list is
ma'am.
exhausted. So this will never enter the for each block again to append that 10. Okay.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
iterations are all over after this. And I will do return init list, which will be returning this list. That is everything except the last one. Clear everyone this code? Any confusion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Why
No,
can
ma'am.
why
Ma'am,
10 is
Yes.
not included, ma'am?
Ma'am,
So
10 is already updated into the previous list. That's why it's not reflecting in the next
No.
as a next element, right?
See, 10 I
So
updated here.
yes,
But
yes,
when
ma'am.
I went for the next iteration, there were no more elements
Yes,
after 10.
yes,
That
ma'am.
is why
Yes,
we are not entering the for each block.
ma'am. Okay, okay. Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Anything more?
No, ma'am.
Sure, right? Because this is very important. If you have any,
Ma'am, can you explain this again?
Sorry.
yeah, I will explain. Anything else anyone wants?
Ma'am, you were going to show me.
Sorry?
Yeah, yeah, after this, after this.
So, ma'am, rest removes the first element and init removes the last element.
Exactly.
Okay.
And first will give you the first element and last will give you the last element.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay, let's solve this one more time. So I'm on a little bit of a time crunch today. I have to leave this like right after I have completed these slides for week 5. I have to end the session. So if anyone has doubts in week 4, I don't think I have time to take it up today. Okay, but everything will be solved. Okay, in Friday and Saturday session. So don't worry.
Can you show me where is that 5.2 pseudocode?
5.2 here.
Yeah, this one. Where will I find it?
Okay, wait. Let me show you. I'll explain that in it. Wait, let me
In
just
the
show.
supplementary section, it can be seen, no?
Yeah, supplementary contents you can find.
Yeah, yeah, I opened it. I opened it. I went to the
Yeah,
week
wait.
5 one.
Wait, I'll show you.
Ma'am, from where we got the we will get the recording for the session? Like it is recording is but
Yeah. You will get it on YouTube. Okay, we'll upload it.
okay, okay.
And the link will be there in the calendar so you can find
Yeah,
it.
it's there on the calendar. You can watch.
Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Huh? Let me open the portal.
I opened the PDF file of the same name, but the
Yes,
PDF.
give me a second. Let me just open the portal for Jantam.
Yeah.
All right. Is it my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go here, supplementary contents, right?
Yeah.
And here's you want what? The lecture PPT slides here. Okay.
Okay.
Just go
Okay.
to this section
Okay.
and
Okay.
click
Okay.
on
Got it.
download now. Yeah,
Okay.
and you get all week wise contents. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's finish that. Yeah. Who didn't understand? Please.
पूछा नहीं उसने पूछना चाहिए ना
Wait,
उसको
Suraj.
बोला
Yeah.
है
Okay.
इसका तो
Okay. See, init does what? Init is a function that will remove the last element from a list and return to you the rest of the list. All right. So in this list, it will remove 10 and return 20, 30, 40, 50 in a separate list. Okay. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now see. Suraj, you will respond. Okay.
yes ma'am.
So init L. First, I am initializing a variable called found to false. And I am initializing an empty list called init list. Everyone else, please mute yourself. Okay. So found is false and init list is an empty list I've initialized. Now I'm accessing every element in this list that I've passed as a parameter. Okay. So what will be the first X? First thing I access?
yes ma'am.
What is the first value I will access in the list for each X?
I'm 20.
20. Okay. So now X is 20. If found, will I be able to enter the if block in the first iteration?
yes ma'am.
How?
Ma'am, because both have a 20 in the condition.
What is your condition? Your condition is found. Is found true or false?
I'm true.
How is it true? I have initialized it to false.
No, sorry ma'am.
Pay attention, please. See. First, I have initialized found to false. Then, in the first iteration, I am accessing 20. So when I write if found, so the condition I'm checking is found true or false? If found is true, only then I will enter the if block. Otherwise, I'll go to the else block. So is found true in the first iteration? Is it?
No ma'am, it's false.
So I won't enter the if block, right? I'll go to the else block. And in the else block, I will set found equals to true. This much clear?
Yes ma'am, clear.
Next else block is done. I will come to this statement. I'm still in that iteration only, where I have taken a variable called previous and I have assigned it the value of x. So what is x for this iteration, current iteration?
I'm 20.
So previous has the value 20 now. Yes. Now
Yes,
next
ma'am.
iteration. Next iteration x is 30, right?
Yes ma'am.
Now will I be able to enter the if block? If found. So is found true now or false?
I'm true.
I updated found here, right? So I will enter the if block.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
now in if block, in this init list that I initialized, I am appending the value of prev, that is previous. So what will I append first in previous in init list? 20,
Yes ma'am.
right? That was the last value of previous. So after the first iteration, in the second iteration, init list will be updated to this. Okay, this is how it will look like. Now next iteration, x becomes 40, right?
Yes ma'am.
But before moving on to the next iteration, I again have to update this prev equals to x. So now previous contains what? 30. Now next iteration, I access 40. Found is still true, so I will append. Again, I will append previous to init list. So now init list looks like this: 20, 30. Correct?
Yes
Else
ma'am.
block is not executed. So previous is now updated to 40. Okay. And next iteration, I have accessed 50. Again, found is true. Init list will be appended with the previous value 40. So now init list looks like this: 20, 30, 40.
Yes ma'am.
And previous is updated with the value 50. Now last iteration gives us 10, right? I am accessing 10.
Yes ma'am.
Found is still true. Again, I will append. Previous has 50. So after appending, list will look like this: 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay,
Ma'am.
20, 30, 40, 50. Clear?
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, but last thing is not matching, ma'am. But then also it will happen to 50.
What is not matching?
Ma'am, last we go to 10th, ma'am.
Yeah, last time going to 10. But my previous value from the last iteration was 50, right? I haven't updated 50 yet.
Okay, ma'am, got it.
Okay, so previous is added here and previous is updated here. So first this line will be performed, then this line, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So 50 is added to the list. Now previous's value is again updated to 10, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now when I go for the next iteration, do I have any more elements left to access in list
No,
L?
ma'am.
So iterations are all over. So I will leave this for each block and return init list. So init list has first 4 elements, not the last one, because I never entered the for each block again to append this previous 10. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear now, the code?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Okay.
Ma'am, what is difference between the init tell and last tell, ma'am?
Last L will just return 10, last element in a list.
Okay.
And init L will return the entire list except the last element.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is the last function, member LE. What does this do? We pass 2 parameters in this case. Okay, till now we were only passing list as a parameter. Now we pass L, that is list, as a parameter, as well as some member of the list or some element E. Okay, and we check whether that element E is a member of this list L or not. Okay, member function has 2 parameters. One is a list, one is an element. It checks whether that element is a member of this list. Clear? So if I pass this member 20, 30, 40, 50, comma 30. So this is my list, this is my element. Okay. One second.
Yes,
Yeah. So what will this return, true or false? Is 30 a member of the list? Is 30,
Yes, ma'am.
is 30 a member of this list?
Yes, ma'am.
True, right? But if I wrote 20, 30, 40, 50, comma 10, is 10 a member
No,
of this
this is
list?
false.
So it will
No,
return
ma'am.
false. So that's it. That's what this function does. So what will we do? We will just iterate through every item in the list and compare it with E. Okay. If we find a match, that means E is present in L. So we will return true and we won't iterate anymore. So as soon as we find a match, we will stop iterating. Okay. Let's say I have this list 20, 30, 40, 50 and 30. Okay. These are the parameters I have passed. So for each x in L, what will be the first x that is chosen?
20.
20. Now I am entering the for each block. If E equals to x, E is what? 30. I have passed as parameters. So is 30 equals to 20?
No,
no,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No. So we won't enter the if block. And we will go for the next iteration. Okay. Next iteration. What will be the next x? What is the next x?
That is 30.
30. So I will again check if 30 equals to 30. True?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So return true. So once I return, will I again check for 40?
So bad.
No.
Mm.
So once I have returned, that means I have finished that procedure. That means we already know that 30 is a member of L, list L, because it is returning true. When it returns true, it means it is true that 30 is a member of list L.
So ma'am,
Clear?
the first line where it is written member L and E. So we are assigning L and E as 2 parameters, 20 and 30.
L and E. L is a list 20, 30,
Okay.
40, 50. L is
Okay,
this
okay.
complete list. Okay.
Okay.
And E is 30. My job is to check whether E is a member of L or not. That is, E
Okay.
element is present in L or not.
Got
If it
it.
is present, I will return true. If not, all the iterations will be exhausted. I won't find a match and I will return false.
Understood.
Ma'am, this function is embedded function or this is user defined function?
Sorry.
And this is user defined function?
See, all of these functions are default. Okay. Whenever you encounter member LE, it will always mean this only. Okay.
Okay.
These are all default. Like these are all functions that we perform on lists. This entire list of functions all these 7 functions are functions that we 6 functions are functions that we perform on lists. All right, this will always mean the same thing. You can pass anything as parameter, and whenever you say member, you are just checking whether E is a member of L or not.
Then we don't have to define all these things.
No, you don't have to define. Okay, in questions you will be given, maybe you are given a list and someone is asking you that what will be the output if I write, say you are given a list L in your question. Now a question might come that what will be the output if I write first of rest of L, what will be the output? So then you have to find that rest of L means, okay, the list is given to you, so rest means you take everything except the first element. Okay, so this part will give you everything except the first element. Say L is 10, 20, 30, 40. So when the question is asking you to evaluate this and give the output, first you will evaluate the inner block, right? Rest of L.
Yes, ma'am.
So rest of L will give you what? 20, 30, 40.
Yes, ma'am.
And now you evaluate that on the first, which will give you just 20. Right? This type of questions will come. So your output will be 20.
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? What type of question? Now there can be complexities in this type of question. Like you might be asked to perform 2 or 3 such operations on a list. But if you know the operations, what they're doing, it is very easy to find out, right?
Yes.
Any question from member?
No.
Any doubt on any of these
So
functions?
member would compare two members and return if any element matches.
Member is comparing a list and an
Element.
element. It is checking whether that element is present in the list
Okay.
or not. It is a member of the list or not.
Okay. Got it.
If so, it is returning true. Otherwise, it is returning false.
Got it. Thanks.
Okay. Any other procedure you need me to repeat? Anything you didn't understand? We have covered all 6. Anyone?
No, ma'am.
So everything is clear for lecture 5?
Yes, ma'am, it's
Sorry.
Excuse
clear.
me, madam. A general question, madam.
Yeah.
You are explaining and we are understanding, and we are finding like what are the things the functions are doing and all. But is it the same case if we ourselves have to do the programming and all? Can we able to do like
So that
this
depends
only?
on who? That depends on you, right?
We only
How much you will
yes, ma'am.
practice, of course.
The even practice sessions also, you are giving the pseudocode and asking to find the errors and
Yeah.
like this you are doing. Instead, it is very good to write the program totally.
So you want to what? Like write each program for last rest. You want to write the pseudocode yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes,
if I
ma'am.
just start writing the pseudocode, a lot of people will not understand where I'm heading.
No. You are not. I'm not asking you to do, ma'am. I'm asking
Yeah. So
how
if you want,
we have to do. Yeah.
okay. See how you can prepare is you go through the slides, you understand the concepts. Okay. Now you know, by now it is week 5. You know how to write a pseudocode by yourself. Correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So you can just pick up any list, okay, and write. Maybe if you know any programming language, C, Python, if you're familiar with anything, you can write a code there. Use this pseudocode and write a function there, and run it on some list and see if it happens. Like you can work it for all 6 of these. Maybe in C you can write any function, right? You just write a main function. Within that, initialize your list or array. In that case, this will be an array in C programming, right? So you can initialize an array of elements, and then you write a function within that main outside of that main function, where you can write that function as length or first, whichever function you want to choose from here. Write the logic by yourself of that function, and then call that function in the main, within the main function. So it will return you whatever you are anticipating, whatever you want. Correct?
Okay, ma'am.
So this way you can prepare.
Thank you.
Of course, writing the pseudocode is the best way to learn. Right?
Okay.
So everyone should try that. Okay. So any doubt from week 5? Anyone? Tell me. Theory part.
Not yet, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yeah, go on.
Ma'am, there is another class of Python. Can I drop off the call?
Yeah, it is done. I'm done for today. You
Okay.
can drop.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Okay.
much, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Please join the revision sessions. They're very important, right? And in the meantime, if you want to just prepare for quiz, do that, because of course the you have enough time to do your week 5 GA, right? It's on 28th, I think. So for now, focus on your quiz, weeks 1 to 4. Okay? And join
Okay, ma'am.
Friday and Saturday session. All right. Any doubt you have, weeks 1 to 4 will be taken up there, and we will revise the concepts and also practice questions. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.